G'day, it's Mike here. Today, what I thought I'd do is show you, I'm building a new boat, and my primary objective today is to make sure the electrics are waterproof. That is the most important thing on these boats, is to make sure that the boat is basically waterproof, and if we do get some water in there, it's not going to stuff up your electrics. So what I'm going to do is walk through the process of waterproofing the parts. Okay, so what I've done is I've pulled the servo out, I've pulled the on-off button and the sail winch out. And what I'm going to do is show you how to actually waterproof these things. So I've got stuff which I use is LANOX and INOX. LANOX is a very good bloody waterproofer. It's got some lanolin through it, which is pretty damn good. So what I do is I get that in there like so, and what I'm going to do is just undo these and show you how to waterproof the parts. Okay, so what we do here is we just basically undo all these bits. Okay, so what we're doing here is just opening that up. Just have a look there. That's where it comes out. You can see there's the control panel there. What we're going to do here is we're going to spray in there, and then we're going to put some grease initially on it. So we've got some INOX grease in here. We're just going to put a bit of grease on here because that's more permanent. You can see that don't touch it with your fingers because your fingers have got acid on it. But when I like putting a lot of this stuff in here, and then what I do is I squeeze that in, and you can see there I'm just basically filling it up with grease there, and on those joints there. And after we've done that, a bit of LANOX from INOX, and whack that in there. Now this dissolves the grease a little bit, so just be aware of that. Fill it all up. Okay, that's good to go. And put this back the way you got it. Slides in like so. See that? It's nice and sealed there. And we pop all these long pieces back in. This is, I will use, when this all dries out, I'll put liquid tape on the bottom of this and seal it all up. I won't do it now because this needs to dry and I need to clean these up. But I'll go on to the next piece, which is the on-off switch. So what we've got here is this I pull this out of the boat. Basically, I'm going to fill this up with LANOX. And what I do from time to time, every 6 months, I might actually fill this up with a bit of this stuff. And, there we go. Oh, bloody hell. There, that's on. There you go. It's really important to keep this well lubricated at all times. Okay, so that one's done. Put that one aside. The last one is probably the most important one, which is where a lot of issues happen. This is the main sail winch. It's got some very big screws here. I might just have a little cup of tea while I'm having a rest. Okay, so we're undoing this one. Okay, and I think these screws are all the same, but we'll make sure that they are.
Yeah, they are.
We'll just
all the same.
Are they all the same? So thanks Mark. Mark's giving me a hand videoing this. Mark sells a 95 and a 65. I think he prefers the 95, but
I'm getting better at the 65.
you know, he's improving on the 65, and he's getting there. He might be sailing in the Nationals next year, won't you, Mark? Do you think?
That's the plan.
Yeah. Well, we had a state titles here recently down at Paradise, and it was blowing 40 kilometres an hour. The conditions were absolutely horrendous. People were getting water through their boats and what have you. We lost 3 boats to electrical faults. My boat, I have had my boat over there, number 52. It has had no issues electrically for 3 years. So the reason for that is I did this originally to all of those gears, and it's lasted a long time. So what I've done here is I've taken this off, and there's all the gearing. Okay, this is the gearing at the top. We're going to put some light grease all through that and just smudge it all around. So just a bit of light grease. Just need to get that right. And just when you put this on, you don't want oodles of it around, but just enough to make sure it's all working well. So, and that's all nice and lubricated in there. Okay, all right, just putting a little bit in here underneath. And under there. And the reason I do that is if there is any water which comes in here, at least the grease will keep the water from damaging the steel components, because they obviously don't make these out of stainless steel, it's just mild steel. So what you want to do is make sure it's all completely coated and you don't have that issue. So that's that section. Okay, we'll go to the electrical side. Okay, to get this off, you just pull this off there, there, and that pulls out. Okay, making sure you don't remove all of the stuff, just have it gently there. What we're going to do is we're going to put some grease in here, particularly on the brass point in there. I don't know whether you can see in there, Mark.
Yeah, okay.
See in there?
Yep.
And put a bit of grease over there and around there. This is more preventative than anything. And then what we do is on these points, these electrical points, is put some grease in there. What I'm going to do is basically flood this with a bit of this stuff. Okay. Oh,
You'll smell like sheep afterwards.
yeah, I smell like sheep. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's good. It does dissolve it a little bit, which is not bad. So what I'm going to do is now pop that back in, because that's completely basically sealed up. Make sure that that seal is nice and tight there.
That's
okay,
it.
that's it.
Click. Yep.
Just click, click, click.
Get a couple of clicks and you're good.
Yep, that's good. Okay, making sure these are all the same length, which I think they are. And we can put that back in and put this. There's a bit of, might just put a bit of gunk on there as well, on the top, that's sealing it. And on there in particular. And popping that, oh, just, yep, that's the right way. And we should hear a little click. Yep, that's nice and sealed in there. So what we're going to do is pop that back in like so. Pop them all back in like so. And do them up nice and tight. Okay, so what we've done is we've put all this together. I've got the battery operated, and I'll just ask Mark to make sure it all works properly before we put it back in the boat. There you go. There's the winch. It's nice and smooth.
Cool.
Good, all good. So, we've made sure the electrics work. What we now want to do is look at the contact points and try and make sure that they have all been LANOXed so that they will not get damaged by water. Okay, so what we've done is we've put grease internally into the servo and the winch, and that will protect it from any ingress from the water, you know, salt water in particular, which is great. It'll keep it off. Now what we want to do is protect the contact points. So what I'm going to do is basically spray these contact points with INOX and just basically fill this whole thing, the control board at the back, just fill it with this INOX, and then what I'll do is I'll get a bit of toilet paper and dry all the the excess off. So I'll fill that up, okay, and I'm going to also the battery I'll put some in there as well. But what I'll do is get a bit of toilet paper and wipe it all off. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just clean all this mess up. Okay, so we've basically covered it with the INOX, and just remember that this stuff is non-conductive, so you'll never have any problems with it not conducting electricity. As long as you've got lots of it in there, your electrics will continue to work quite well. So I'm just drying all this excess grease and grime off so that we can put it in the boat and we don't have any slippery business happening when we put it all back. So just clean it all off and make sure it's nice and dry externally so we can put it back into the boat properly.
I'll just run a final test for you.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to pop this in the water for 30 minutes and see whether it actually works after we've popped it in the water and tried it out. So here we go. It's all working now, and we're going to pop that into a tub of water, and there we go. Just leave it there for 30 minutes and we'll retest it shortly. So we obviously didn't leave, we've cut out a bit of the time, but we're just going to test it now. You can hear it's working. Test underwater is successful. Now we're going to pull it out and retest it, and excellent. Right, we'll just do a test on that, make sure it all works. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to put it in the boat. Get our mic back here. Now, after much ado and much work, we've put all the electrics into the boat and it's all ready to go. The only thing we now need to do is to put the keel and the rudder in. And the important thing on this is to ensure that you don't get any, what do they call it? What's the word?
Corrosion?
Corrosion. Corrosion. We put a lot of grease in there. We just, if you see that, just fill this up with this, fill it up, fill up the hole with it, and we basically put it in this side as well, fill it up, and whack that in like so. It'll come out, but we'll clean that up afterwards. Apply that in there, put your Allen key on there, thank you Mark, and we just wind that up nice and tight. You see that all the grease will come out. It's very important that you do grease this, because otherwise the corrosion on here is incredible. With the salt water which it goes down, it just corrodes a whole lot. So I did have some toilet paper around here somewhere. We've got here is a steel bowl with an alloy fin. Those two mixed with salt water is the perfect mix for corrosion. Electrolysis to occur, and you get a lot of corrosion. So just rub off the excess of the grease and out of the back there. See how that's nice, and just get rid of all that grease so that you can put a nice big plastic thing over there. You see from my keel over on 52, it's the salt water has had a huge impact on that, and that's not a go fast situation. So what we're doing here is making this nice and smooth, and then we'll insert this into here. And what I'll do is just find the screw, which is that. I'll put a little bit of grease on that. So this is obviously mild steel, and that with into aluminium obviously has a very, very negative impact on wear and tear. So I'll whack that in there, which is always very difficult to get in there. Okay, and put that in like so. I've put a lot of grease in there. We just wind that up like so. Not too tight. Always remember, if you tighten this, it'll break the boat. Okay, so just nice and firm, but not too tight. What we're doing now is popping that on there, like so. Note to self: make sure you support your keel so the weight is on a little sponge down there. Okay, next thing, most importantly, is to have this all nice and greased up. So use what am I using here? INOX MX6, which is synthetic grease, and this is doesn't perish the rubber, so it's pretty damn good. And we'll just shove it up the hole here. If I can find the hole. Here we go. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll remove the excess grease once I've put that over. So that goes into that joint there. But before we do anything else, I've got this lubricant, which is a needle injected lubricant, which I just put over the top of this arm here, and I use this for the bearings. Okay, so the bearings on the sail, I use it for up here, bearings on here, just put a little bit there on the gooseneck fitting, and I put it on the base as well, but I usually flip it over. I won't do it now, but I flip it over and do that. So this is important here and internally in here, okay? And you can put some on your winch, turning winch there, just to help it move around. But that's a bearing grease, okay? All right, so we're basically ready to go. We can put the sail on and we can take it for a test ride. So that's the plan. So we've spent a bit of time putting it all together. It obviously needs a bit more trim on it. But the main thing is that the boat is now, I'm really confident that the boat is waterproof internally. So if I get water in here for some reason, I know that the boat and the electrics will still work regardless of the fact that there's water all sloshing around. So we're going to do our sail test tomorrow morning, because we've been spending a bit of time on this. The key is that we've got a boat which is now waterproof and corrosion free.